What's the difference between UEFI and legacy BIOS boot? When it comes to setting up your computer, understanding the difference between Unified Extensible Firmware Interface and legacy Basic Input-Output System can make a big difference. Both are types of firmware that help your computer start up and get everything running smoothly. However, they have some key differences that can affect your experience, especially if you are building or maintaining a gaming PC. First, let's talk about the boot process. Legacy Basic Input-Output System uses a 16-bit processor mode and initializes hardware one step at a time. This can lead to slower boot times. On the other hand, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface operates in 32 or 64-bit mode. It supports parallel hardware initialization, which means it can start up much faster. For gamers, this means less time waiting and more time playing. Next, we have the user interface. Legacy Basic Input-Output System typically has a text-based interface that only works with a keyboard. This can feel a bit outdated and less user-friendly. In contrast, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface offers a graphical user interface that allows you to use a mouse. This makes it easier to navigate settings, whether you want to change boot order or tweak overclocking options. Storage support is another area where these two differ. Legacy Basic Input-Output System uses the Master Boot Record Partitioning Scheme, which limits your drives to 2 terabytes and only allows 4 for primary partitions. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, however, supports the GID partition table. This allows 4 much larger drives, up to 18 exabytes, and up to 128 partitions. This is especially useful for gamers who have large solid-state drives or multiple drives for games and media. Security features also set these two apart. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface includes Secure Boot, which helps prevent unauthorized software from loading during startup. Legacy Basic Input-Output System does not have this feature, making Unified Extensible Firmware Interface a more secure option against certain types of malware. Compatibility is another factor to consider. Legacy Basic Input-Output System is compatible with older hardware and operating systems, which can be important for some legacy gaming setups. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface is designed for modern hardware and operating systems, providing better support for new technologies. Lastly, let's talk about expandability and firmware updates. Unified Extensible Firmware Interface firmware is modular and can be updated with new features. Legacy Basic Input-Output System is limited in size and functionality, making it harder to adapt to new hardware standards. In the context of building a gaming PC, Unified Extensible Firmware Interface is generally the better choice. It offers faster boot times, larger storage options, enhanced security, and a more user-friendly setup. While Legacy Basic Input-Output System might still be used for compatibility reasons, it is considered outdated for high-performance gaming systems. When setting up your system, enabling Unified Extensible Firmware Interface boot mode and using GID partition table on your solid-state drive will provide you with faster load times and better future-proofing for your gaming experience.